Well, if anyone's out there, I've started just a little early, so I'm going to leave my banner up for a moment as I find the video on Facebook as well. Let me see what's happening here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I got it. Let me get that up so I can get my comments on. All right, my comments are on and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to turn the camera on and say a proper hello. So here we go. Hi, everybody. So welcome to Live with Janome. I'm Ann Hine, embroidery software specialist for Janome America. And I do have my comments up, so you're welcome to give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, you can see me okay. If you have any questions, you can put those there as well. We are doing this month, it's sort of like, I think it's National Sewing Month this month. So I'm deciding to do for Artistic Digitizer some, back to the basics. Let's do a little bit of that, but I'm going to throw in some projects and some things in there as well. So it's not just about basic things. It's things you can do with the software as we go along. Now, some of you know we do have an upgrade available for purchase to version 2, and it is really exciting. You'll have to go back. You can find my videos on the Janome YouTube channel that I've done, even on the Janome Canada page. I think they've linked my one of my videos up there as well. I really love the new version. It has some very exciting features. And I know Janome USA is running a special on that for those that have 1.7 full version. You can upgrade to the V2 for special pricing. Now, we're a global company and this goes everywhere. So everybody has to check with their country as to what's being offered. Some countries don't have the upgrade information yet, and they can't post their stuff. So you have to just bear with that part of it. And I know we have some in the USA, but I don't know where we are as far as the distribution of it. Basically, I handle this part with you guys. I don't really get all that other stuff. So I always say, check in with your dealer. Ask them about, inquire with them about the special pricing and if you're on a wait list or something like that. All right. So that is my little promo for Janome today. Hi, Marty. Nice to see you out there. Let me see what I have out there. I have get my little thing. Oh, we've got quite a few people out there. All right. Now you might notice behind me, there are two little machines, right? Can you see that? My big machine, I don't know. Did it explode and make two machines? Maybe. I'm actually doing a special project for Janome, and behind me is the MC100E, which is our embroidery only, and then the MC1000E, which is sewing embroidery. And these are a little bit small, compact machines, but they have all those great features that you want with Janome. And I would say they might be that a little bit more than an intro machine. They offer a bit more because they have embroidery. And I love them. They're a 7mm machine and they sew beautifully. It reminds me a bit of my Memorycraft 9000. That's the first machine I had. It has the arm that goes off the back for that linear motion. That was what Janome started with, I believe, when they first brought out their embroidery machines. So those are what's behind me. Now I do have my camera up so I'm going to show you what it looks like here where I've moved my other machine to. And yes, Marty, I know it is on back order. I don't really know, I think it's on back order for everybody, but I can't say for certain because I'm not in that part of it. That's why I always say, please refer to your dealers. They can get the information by contacting sales in Janome. So I'm going to put my camera on and, but I'm going to turn it so you can get a little glimpse of like my machine. This is what I'm looking at. There, you guys. So that's what I look at when I'm videoing. So you can see all my my wall back there. And then I did put my machine back there. And so in order for me to embroider, I will have to move my computer when I do that. But right now, I do have the other machines behind me for a little project, and I'm getting all set up for that. So that's a little exciting to see that part of my, everybody always wants to see what's happening back there. All right, let me go back to me. All right, so today we're doing basics and beyond, and I'm sort of calling this back to school. So today I wanted to go over some basics, and these are very similar whether you are junior or full program. If you are if you have the version 2, I don't know, some people may have it. I'm not really sure how that is. Some people may have it. I don't really know. And but anyways, I am demoing on version 2, and there's a few things that are different in it, in the overall visual part of it. But the things I want to cover are those first things, like those getting started kind of stuff that I think will help you get moving along. And then I want to talk a little bit about registering your software, where the help is in the software itself, choosing your machine, hoop, that part of it, and also choosing the fabric and what that all means in the embroidery category. Plus, we're going to do a little bit of importing designs a really easy way. So I'll show you all of that. And that easy way is whether you have junior or full, whether you have 1.7 or 2.0. All right. So let me go ahead and I'm going to put on my software and we will go from there. Let's see what happens when I switch to this. There we go. All right. So this is the welcome screen on your software. And I have another extra window I'm going to actually close over here. There we go. And when you get your software, really one of the two first things I would say you want to do is right here where it shows you your machine, Janome, and your machine. Now we are multi-branded, so when you open this up, you'll see you can have other machines. Some of us are, or some of you are multi-branded, so you could use this with all your brands. So you would just change that, and this sets your default machine. So I'm Janome, so I always want Janome machines up, and then here are the different machines here, and it's not quite alphabetical because sometimes people can't find their machine. Now, if you can't find your CM17 at the top, your software is not updated, so you need to make sure you update to at least the 1.7 there, and you'll find that on the global page. But as you go down, we have the Skyline S9 and the Atelier 9. This is the European one. And then, they go into the MCs down here. So sometimes people can't find their machine. So you do have to scroll up and down to find what's there. And our new machines are here too. They are Memory Craft. So I think they're right here. The MC100. And this is the hoop that comes with it. It's a 5.5 by 5.5 hoop. And then there are other hoops available. And the same thing for the 1000. That one has the same hoops available as well. I think they come preloaded with one hoop, and those others are additional. But anyways, let's go back, because I do like mine set at the 17 up here. And once I do that, I can click on the X, and every time I open it, it will open. I like the largest hoop. When I open a new page, like if I go up here and I open a new page, there it is. There's my hoop. There's my machine at the top. I'm already set to go. Let's go back over here. When I'm on this part, if I wanted to change to another hoop, I go right up here to my CM17 and I click on the drop down and it says change. Now it doesn't give me any other options right now because there's nothing in my hoop. And that's one thing about the software. If you don't see something when you do a left or right click, it's because there's something on the page you haven't selected or you don't have the right thing on the page. So I'm going to click on change. We get that window where I can choose a different hoop. I can choose a different brand. I can choose a different machine if I want to, okay? The other thing is if you turned on this one here, and it's on now because I chose the hoop from up on the top here, it puts the hoop icon over here. Now, you don't want to click on the plus. The plus will add a hoop. plus means add. If I clicked on the hoop icon instead of up there, let's do this. We'll go to select. If I came over here, nothing wrong with that. I would get this icon. I'd have to click in here to the hoop, and it would open up my window for me, possibly. There we go. Double click on that. It would open this window up. If I clicked on the plus, it's going to give me the window down here of adding a hoop, and say I said, oh, I want this hoop. Now I'm going to have two hoops. I'm going to scroll out so you can see. I have two hoops on my screen, and this is very confusing. This is for multi-hooping. All right. So I want to make sure when you're, and you can hover over here and delete a hoop. Whether you use the icon here and you double click over here, make sure you click on the icon, not the plus. Plus means add. Just remember that. Plus means add. That's why I go right up here to my CM17. I click change. It just gives me the options of hoops. I don't have to worry about adding a hoop. It just gives me the options, and makes it easy for me. And then, of course, always turn off your tools on the left-hand side so that you are able to access your tools up here. If you have something selected down here, you won't have some options up there. Oh, Marty was the 11,000. Okay. I did the 9,000, the 11. I did the 11 SE, the 10,000, the upgrade for 10,001. And then I went to the 11. And of course, that's when I started with Janome. At the end of the lifetime of the 11, I went to the 12, the 15, and here I am right now. All right. So that's important on here to set that default hoop every time so you don't have to worry about it. Now, if I open something that was saved in a previous hoop, it will open in it may open in that hoop. I don't know if I have anything here. Let me see if I open this. Nope, that was opened in that one here as well. So I'm going to close that. Don't save that. I don't know if I have anything here that, let's see what this was opened in. That, there, you can see this one was saved in the SQ, the 28D, and there it pops in. Now, if this was a 15,000, it may change to a 15,000 up there. So it does save the hoop that you're using. I'm going to close that. That was from a fun project. And then I don't know if I have anything else in here, but that's how that works. Now, right below that, this here is your fabric, and I'm going to click in here. So many times people will say when they're working, did you choose your fabric to get the tension of your thing, or the density of your piece? So you can set your default from the welcome page, like I showed for the hoop. We can select it. This is my default is a white background, and my fabric is none, and it's normal. Now, every fabric in this category, this is the normal category, all of these fabrics have the same parameters as none normal, okay? And if I went and changed this to a different option in here, if I went to ultralight, all of these fabrics have the same parameters. All right. And I just like the white background. I don't want this texture behind it, though I can change that to a white background. That's why most of mine, I stay with normal right here, normal and none. All of these are pretty much the general fabrics that you're using. You don't have to come in here and pick a particular one unless you want to see that behind there. Now I'm going to put my camera on because I did a little thing where I stitched a circle with each of these different types. Now this sets your density, but of course we always have the option to change our density. So what I want to do is I'm going to leave mine on normal. I'm going to say okay, and there it stays. But I want to change my camera view and show you my little option here. So I have to go back to me and then to here. All right, so this is my little sample that I stitched out. Now I actually had to put each circle on a different page to start so that I could get them where they are. This one up here, this is heavy, and I'm going to turn it a little sideways. It's very full. I'll bring it up close. It's very full. That's heavy. maybe you'd want that on a denim. And then underneath that, this one here is normal light. It's a little bit lighter, and over in this corner is normal. So those three there, you know, that the stitches, I don't know what the stitch count in each of these, but this one would have the least amount of stitches. This would have the most, and then the normal one here. Most of the time I stay in normal, and then I adjust my density from there. This one over here, this is light, and you can see, you know, if you're looking at the edges kind of, it is a little bit, it is lighter, and it's not as stiff. This one is very stiff. This one is more pliable. Okay, so this one is light. And then we have something called smooth. It's kind of a combination, I think, between light and ultralight. This is ultralight right here. You can see through it. So you would use ultralight on, if you're sewing on tulle and you wanted a really light stitching. I did a skirt where I embroidered dots on it and on tulle on my skirt, and I used this, plus I used it to make appliques. So my stitching was very light, and I didn't have to mess with my density at all. It set everything for me. And this one over here, as I said, this is the smooth one. So it's a lighter density, and it has a nice soft feel to it. This might be something that might work for a t-shirt for you. So you might have to try, you know, stitch these out on separate, you have to make them on a separate page, and then you can copy them over to the page you're working on. So if you wanted to do something like this, and I found this really handy to have when I bring this when I go out and about sometimes. So this is a really handy sample, and then I made myself a key so I would remember that. All right, let's go back into the software, and here we go. All right. Now, of course, these are the different ways to enter the program, and I'm going to show you some ways to bring designs in easily in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and open a new page. I could go to Create New, or I could go right up here to New. These will stay up here. So when you're on a work page, let's go to a work page. There's your New and Open if you need it there, or from File if you're going to do that. Here's my page. I'm all set. What I want to show here is underneath Help up here. There's your help topics, your printable help, and register. So you would want to come in here and register your software when you get your software. Now, if you wanted to say, you know, for some, and I'd be sad when you do this, that you want to sell your software. You can sell your software, but you must unregister it. You must follow those directions. There's a protocol you have to follow in order to sell that, and you want to make sure you do it properly, okay? So under help topics, we have a searchable help. This is the one that is in our new version, and you can do a search here. They've got some new icons up the top here. So you can put in a search word here, and it'll go to, I don't know, let's say sequence. And then as you scroll down here, it gives you options. It's very similar to the 1.7, just it's a little bit different view. And then you could go view it online, so you don't have to close this window. That's new for 2.0 on that part of it, okay? And then let me just go here. And I'm going to move it to the bottom. That's not really what I want. I would like it to close, but I'm going to put it behind here, down at the bottom. And then underneath help again, you could do your printable help. And there's your printable help. This is great because it has links in it where the new stuff is, or even in your 1.7, there's links within it as well for different things. And you can click on a link and it'll take you to an area if there's something that has a link. I'm trying to find the page over here. Here we go. 22 or 23 is good. This is a link here. So a new tool, click here, gives you more information. Okay. And if there's something in here that has more information, you can link from there. So there is that in there. Now, I don't suggest printing your manual, because if there's ever a build update, which are little minor things, it changes the order of the manual just a bit as they redo things, so you may have to reprint. It's 500 pages. You can move it to a e-reader if you want, or you can use it as an online source. Mine opened, and I know you can't see it on my video, but it's down below, down here, down below. And if I need to refer to it, I can just click to it and open it back up and find it right there. So it hangs out at the bottom. All right. So that's under the help. So you can register your software, and that's where you look for help on that part of it. All right, let me see what else I wanted to talk about. Machine and fabric. All right, so let's talk about bringing something into the program. Now, I'm going to go back to my welcome page. Your recents are here. You can click on these. If I worked on that, it'll open it. See here, it opened in a 15,000 because that's what I was using when I did this project. So you can see that. And then I'm going to close this one because I don't need it. And I'm going to close that one. Don't save that one. And they're now in the two. They're coming in with their names attached to them. So I can use my recents. I could go to open file here, and then I can now I'm in a Mac, so this would be my Explorer over here. All right, and I would find my folders here, and then they would expand over here. It's the same similar thing, just a different view in a different software. So if I don't want to do that, I can cancel that. I could use my browser, and this used to be my favorite way because I could have my favorites up here, and under here I'd have the recent folders I've been to, and then at the bottom I have my devices. So this is my USB stick that I have in my Mac, and then down here, look what you can see. There's my CM17. Because I have it turned on and I'm wireless, I can click, I can see everything there. I also have, I can see the built-in drive, what's in there. I can see a USB stick and what's in there, my other USB stick and what's in there. I don't have to get up from my chair, walk around the table to go get that. My S9 is down here. I can click on my S9, same thing, built-in drive. USB 1 and USB 2. I only have something in one. I don't think I have anything in my USB. And you have your built-in samples. There we go. So it's, oops, let's go down here to 9. There we go, USB 1 there, and my built-in drive. There we go. Okay, so that's why I like the wireless part. I can get to everything. If you had, you know, in my Mac, I have a USB like hub that I can have 4 or 5 USB sticks in. I can have those all plugged in and still see them over here. So the samples up here, let me go back to this. These samples here, these are typically in your C drive. Okay, so and I'm on my Mac, so they're in users under, I think they're under admin, and they're somewhere in here. On my PC, I've moved them out of the C drive, but if you go to C drive, users, your name, you'll find it there. And in the manual, it does show you that as well. Okay, Al, I see that was that question on that part of it. So you'll be able to find out. Those are all the designs that come packed with your machine. They look like this. There's some AccuFill stippling, some paint stitch samples, some cutting samples, and then all of these designs here. I'll make them smaller. There's a whole bunch of designs here like that you can download. All right, and they do come on your C drive. And when you're loading your software, they usually load in with your software. Okay. Hopefully that will help. If you have questions on that, you can post it to our Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page, and we can give you the exact place where those go to. Be a little bit easier that way. All right, so I wanted to show you an easier way to bring things into your program. Now, I am going to go up here and I'm going to open a new page because that's where I'm going to work today. And I'm just going to put this, I don't know why, where's my... For some reason, this window likes to stay up here, so I'm just going to put it behind down here out of the way. So I have a new page opened up, but what I can do is on my PC or on my Mac, I can open my Explorer, or on my Mac, I can open up my Finder. So I'm going to open my Finder, and actually I can be on the welcome page as well. I can open my Finder, and then I could come down here to my embroidery file, and if I want to open something in here, see, these are my let's see if I can find something. Bee and flower designs, what's in here? Oh, good. There's a couple different ones. DST and art. Here's a Jeff file. So if that's the one I want to work with, this one here, I can't see what it is, but maybe it would have a name. Sometimes I name them. These are just ones I have in here. It'll be a surprise. I just drag them over here and let go. There it is on the screen of my machine. If I picked something that, go back to my Finder, if I picked something that was a JPEG, so let me go back to my embroidery file, and I went to something like, maybe class time has something in it. Nope, that's a draw file. Those are designs. I don't know. I had these all set up. No, go back to this. Maybe it's under here, all embroidery. There we go. All right, so if I go under here and I look for my, maybe I have some graphics that I want, I could bring in a graphic and it opens up the graphic window. So let's see if this gives me, here's my JPEG. So say I have a JPEG, and I'm going to bring this back up to the front for me for some reason. I can just click on it, drag it on top of here, and it opens up the convert window. So I don't have to go searching. You know, if you already know where things are and you open your embroidery folder, you can easily bring something in. And then I can decide here if I want to make it as a paint stitch. I can also, make it smaller, and then I could trace it and do that. I'm not going to go ahead and open this, but I could, and it would open right onto my work page. All right. If I'm working on a page, let's do this. If I have a page open and I go get something that I opened something earlier, so I have to remember where I put it. I think it went into my documents, and it is this folder here. So earlier today, this is actually a folder that is from OESD, and it's an alphabet. All right, and one of the troubles people have is, you can download and install a TrueType font to your computer and access that under the text tab. But many of us may buy a font that's actually a design or a text or an alphabet. That's what this is. This is an alphabet. I think it's called Pen Alphabet or something. And I know this first one is A because it's, that's the beginning of my alphabet. So when I grab this A, I can bring it over here and drop it in, and you can see it opened right there. Right? Can everybody see that? I'm going to pull this up so we can see it. And then if I wanted to pull in other letters from here, so this would be the E. I could bring this down here, and now the E is in there. This should be the N. Whoop, this one is the N. There we go. So here I am on my page. Now I can take my letters and I can align them this way. This one will have to be copy pasted like this, copy paste, move it over, put it there, take the E, put the E up there. So if I want to work with my alphabet, I can do it that way. Okay. You can also, let me open a new page here, and I want to open my square hoop right here, this one, because it's easier to work in. If I wanted to create a folder where I could see all these individual designs, I could select all of these. I'm holding down Shift. I'm just going to select a line of them, and I could bring them down here, and they do load on top of each other. So let's go here, but I can see them over here. And now I can select them and I could populate them in a hoop and save them as my pen alphabet. So I could open this and then use it right from here. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Uh-oh. I wonder if I missed something I was hoping I was in the right spot. Okay, there we go. So that's how you could work with, your alphabets that way. You could drag them in. Maybe you'll go in here and change these to add a letter at the beginning of this, leave the rest of this in there, and then you could click and drag them in. But I really love the fact that no matter if it's a Jeff design, a draw file, or a graphic, I can bring it over and use it really easily. If I have something open, like this design here, where was that? This design. And I come over to my alphabet and I click and drag, it's going to open on this page. So I can easily add something to this page. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope it does. All right. The other thing is, I'm going to close this now. Let's see here. It's doing weird things. I'm going to just put that down there out of the way. Click on my software. There we go. All right. If I wanted to send to my machine this design here, since there's something on my page now, I could come up here to my CM17 and click there. Now it gives me all the options. Okay. The one option we have now is fit to hoop, which I love this fit to hoop. Center to hoop, change my hoop. I could put it to my USB. I can send it wirelessly, or if I was connected by cable, I could do that. So if I was sending to my USB, I click there. Here's that USB I told you about. I'm going to double click, and it now opened my USB, and I can see everything on my USB. And those of you with a CM17, you need to have your machine updated to version 3. Because once you go to version 3, and you put a design, I don't even have to use this EMBF folder. These designs are just in my EMB folder, okay? And I will see them right away on a CM17. And if I want to go up, let me go up one level to the root of my USB. Here's the root of my USB. I have designs outside the EMB and even folders. So you don't even need the EMB folder anymore, but it auto opens in AD. So I could put it anywhere I want, change the name. I could leave it as a JPX, or I could change it to Jeff if I wanted. It's no big deal. This is how I would export my design. This is the export button right here. If I was going to put it onto a USB stick, instead of going over to File and then Save As. Okay, if I want to save this design somewhere, that's when I pick Save As, and it opens up my, this would be my Explorer window, right? Or my browser in my PC. This is my Finder. And then I would save it in one of my folders here. I do see my USB stick. I could put it there. But that's when I would save it. And look how it saves it as a draw file. So now I would have to put it, I would have to save, I could come down and save it in any of these formats if I wanted to. You basically want to save your created work as a draw first and then as a Jeff. So you have to think about what you're doing. You can still go up to File if you're used to that, but come down to Export. That will give you these auto choices right here and direct you more clearly to the spot that you want to go to. All right, if I wanted to go wirelessly, here it is. It opened my CM17. My machine is asleep. That's why I don't see the ready to sew screen. So I would go to built-in or any of those drives, and I could save it into there. All right. Once there's my machine, I could name it and then send. It would go right there in my EMB folder on my machine. It's clear as mud, I'm sure. I'm going to do another one of these later in the month on the CM17 right at the screen of the machine. And I'll be talking about other machines as well, a little bit about exporting, transferring, you know, how to get your designs to your machines. All right, so let me put the camera back on here. Here we go. I'm gonna put the camera on here. I'm gonna run over just a little bit because I said I would do a little project today, and I want to throw in something kind of quick. And I'll come back to it in another one where I cover it a little more clearly. And I've covered this topic a lot. People were asking about applique and patches, and they're very, very similar. So I'm going to go back to the software, and I'm going to show you quickly a applique. So let me get here, and I'm going to just go to a new empty page. Let's go to a new empty page. All right. If I wanted to create an applique here, I can, or a patch, I can pick on my shape, click and drag, and then over here in my properties, now my properties look a little different. I would come in here and I would pick applique. And when I do that, I'm going to zoom in. It automatically gives you, and I'll click off of this so you can see, it automatically makes your inside fabric, okay? And then when I'm in my sequence, I'm going to select it again. It opened up my applique options, and I can decide what I want to put on the outside. If I want a satin stitch, it puts satin, and then I can change the width of it. And I can also change what I'm doing with my fabric right here. So most of the time, we want to do an applique or a patch where we will sew a placement line, then we will lay our fabric down and do a tack down. And then during embroidery, which is right here, we will trim our fabric. And then it will finish with the outside part of it. If you want to add anything in here, you definitely can add things into your applique. If I wanted to put lettering in there, I could definitely, whoops, that's not lettering. If I wanted to go to lettering, I could definitely add something in here. Like that. And I'm actually going to make this, I'm going to select it and just make it a little smaller to fit in here. Not like that. Let me undo that. I don't want it to go. There we go. Like this. I'm going to put it back in here. And then I'm going to open my text tab. Let's make it a arc. And I'm going to center it. There we go. So I put it on there. One of the things, I don't want my outline, so I'm going to delete the outline over here. And I don't need it to, I'm going to set my remove overlaps to never. And then also on my applique, I can put overlaps at never as well. There we go. And I can change the color of this. Let me change this color to yellow. There we go. Okay. So I easily made a applique right now. It won't stitch this fabric, but it will stitch the this part into it. So let's go look at that in slow redraw, and then I have a sample to show you. So in my slow redraw right here, here's what it does. It stitches your placement because I'm going to trim during my embroidery. So there's my placement. It's going to make what's called a jump out, a frame out. And that little jump where that little jump was when it went up here, the machine actually stops there. And then you'll lay your fabric, it'll do the stitching now. This is your tack down. And you can change your tack down to be a zigzag or anything that you like on there. And then once your tack down is done, it will do your embroidery on the outside. And I might have set it at 2 passes. So now it's going to do the satin stitch, then it'll come up here and it'll do my embroidery. All right, so let me just show you, and this looks much like a patch, right? I'm going to use my camera, and let me get back to my camera here, back to me, and then to my camera. So I want to show you right here. If you were making a patch. This is Badge Master right here. So what you would do is it would stitch your, and I used to have one with the placement line, but I took it away. It would stitch a placement line. I would lay down my vinyl. It's going to attach my vinyl, do all the stitching, and then I'll put something on the back, whether it's the my felt, or maybe I'll put one of that material where this is an iron-on, so I could stick it onto something. And then I would trim my vinyl, and then it would do this final stitching right here. And then I would pull it out of it pulls out right here. You'd pull it out. You could do it on a wash away like this. And I would cut this close and then just wet my finger or wet a cloth and clean that away. So an applique and a patch are very much the same. So you can use the same feature to help you get your placement, your tack down, and your finishing stitch. And basically for a patch, you can create those yourself using a shape or an auto border or drawing around the item. Maybe you're making a applique out of an embroidery design like this one here. This is a design that's in our machine. I use the auto border function to create the outline portion of this. So I had a placement line for my fabric. I copy pasted it and did another line for my tack down so I could then trim. And then my third one I copied again and did the satin stitch and then added that at the bottom in there. Okay, and then you could see I do add a piece on the back for some of my badges that I make. I think I have another one of that somewhere. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of, when you're going to make, here's another one. Did I cover it? Yeah, I covered that one in the back. Here's one that I didn't put any satin stitch around. I just raw edge cut around it, but I have it covered in the back. This one, if I wanted to, I could use the satin stitch on my sewing machine, and I could satin stitch around this onto something if I didn't want to do an actual whole patch. Okay. And then these are the same over here. I think that's the same. Okay. All right, let me go back to the camera and oh, I'm sorry. I did say that wrong. Hang on a second. Let me go back. Let me get to my camera here. Where the heck is that? There we are. It is 2.0. I'm sorry. Thank you, Janie. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah, I said it's actually your CM17 should be version 2. There we go, not 3. I'm sorry. I got carried away with my numbers. But yeah, version 2 for your CM17, I found very exciting because they did finally change what you can see on the screen of your window when you're bringing something over to your machine. So now you will see your actual designs on the first screen instead of having to. Typically, we see an EMB folder. We open our USB stick and we'll see an EMBF, and everyone wants to touch that EMBF, and I say no, because probably you didn't put it in there, so don't touch it. Use your page turn. On a CM17 that's been moved up to a V2, then you'll see your EMBF, but you'll see designs right there. And there you might see a couple from your SQ28, and maybe you'll see them from the RE46. So they're not separated by size by page anymore. Thank you for that on that. Okay. All right, everyone. If you have further questions, let me know. I'll probably do an applique or a patch project over the month or even into October so that you can see how that all works a little bit more quickly. I just want to make sure I cover some of the beginning stuff there. If you have questions on any beginning stuff or where to start or how to get started or something that you don't see, you may have noticed when I made my shape, it's actually colored and not white. I can show you how to do that too. That will probably be coming up in another basic on setting your colors on there. All right, everyone, have a great day. Have a good rest of the week because we are at Thursday. This is a weird week with having Monday off. And I'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a good one. Thank you, everyone.